What's up, guys? So I rarely do this sort of thing. I rarely post YouTube videos, that is. But recently I just built my own new rig and I had some pretty good results. I mean, playing every current game so far at 1440p, and that was my main goal. Play a lot of games, and I wanted to throw anything at it and have current specs handle it without any issues. So I succeeded in that. I spent around $2,000, but I think it was worth it in the end. To be honest, the monitor right here, the Acer Gaming 144Hz monitor, that cost $600. So taking that out, the rig itself was probably only around $1,300-1,400, and it's probably more than most you are willing to spend. But ultimately, you get what you pay for. If you're looking to run the most current titles, the highest frame rates and the highest settings, you're going to have to buy some good components. So I figured I'd share this. This is my current setup. Decided to go red and black. It's the monitor, Corsair Strix keyboard. Here's some boxes I decided to save. I threw out most of them. Ultimately, I started just replacing my old setup. I had an old Phenom, whatever you want to call it, X6 1100T. It's a 6-core AMD processor. It's pretty good. I used to play Battlefield 3 max settings. I had an old ATI Radeon 6950. So I was like, you know what, let me just switch my video card. Initially I kept the old setup, 8 gigs RAM, the specs I just mentioned. I got a FXX Radeon 460, kept everything else the same. Obviously didn't see good results, or not that big. So I was like, you know what, let me upgrade the video card. Wound up getting a 470, returning it. Wound up getting a Radeon 480, returning it. Wound up getting a 1070, initially EVGA, and that thing coil lined like a mother. So I was like, this thing's gonna explode in my computer. Returned that. Ultimately, I was like, why am I replacing video cards and ultimately ending up with the GTX 1070 Strix that's going to be bottlenecked by my old CPU? Let me just replace everything. Went back to Micro Center, got new motherboard to start out. Figured I can't go AMD. It's 2016. The best AMD processor is technically the 9590, and that thing runs like a furnace. It's too hot. AMD is a good price point. They sell for a reasonable amount of money. The speed on that thing is sick, but for what it's worth, I couldn't do it. So ultimately, I got Intel motherboard, and I got an i7 6700K. Kept it stock so far, no overclocking. This motherboard's awesome. Fits my case perfectly. Lights up red. It supports up to 3800 megahertz Ddr4. Right now I'm running Corsair Vengeance 3000 megahertz, and so far, people like to complain about motherboards. They're like, oh, I dead on arrival 4 times in a row. It's like, just learn how to use a fucking computer. It's probably dead on arrival because you didn't plug something in right and you don't know how to start your computer. That's why when you look at motherboards, the best you'll see is 4 out of 5 stars, that is, or eggs, whatever you're looking at, because people don't really give it a chance. You obviously got to tweak with it, especially if it's a new build, to get the thing started. Had no issues with this. It's meant for overclocking. Thing's beautiful. Thing matches my color scheme perfect. I love it. The Strix, this thing's a beast. Overclocked from the factory, 3 fans. Even when I'm playing Battlefield 4 Max, this thing never breaks a sweat. Maybe if I have my heat on, because now it's getting chilly out, it'll hit like 65 degrees Celsius, but that's nothing. If I'm only playing WoW, this thing barely hits 60 degrees Celsius. It's got the 3 fans, it's got a super heat sink. The clock's advertised at like 1870 or something, maybe a little less, but it hits pretty much 2 gigahertz, which is sick. And absolute beast. It's got RGB coloring, lit it up red to match my color scheme. I love it. If you look at benchmarks, it's right behind the 1080. I mean, I'm talking about 10 FPS. Yes, that can be a lot, 10 to 15 FPS to be fair. But look at the price difference. The 1080's an extra $200, if not more. Didn't really need water cooling, decided to go with this, $100, H100 version 2. I like the look. Lights up, it's got RGB lighting. Once again, a lot of components I got have the RGB, so I can light it up red. It all matches, it's got a beautiful color scheme, and that was part of the incentive of buying it. I obviously didn't spend $100 just on a little red light, but of course the cooling itself, I definitely saw improvements from my Hyper Evo 212, I believe, whatever it's called, the big heat sink. Probably, 5 to 10 degrees Celsius less. I haven't overclocked yet, so right now, currently with this thing, under a low load or idle, it's high teens, and under heavy load, after like an hour or two of Battlefield, it barely breaks 55 degrees Celsius, like 50 to 55. I also set the fan curve a little more aggressive, but it's not nearly at max. I think I'm running at half, and it's not breaking 55. This thing, I got this at Best Buy, but hey, Best Buy price matches, so I can't kick myself in the head too much. 27-inch Acer gaming monitor, quote unquote, 144 hertz, G-Sync, blah blah blah. What is this? 0 frame. It's good. I just wanted a 144 hertz monitor, to be honest. It's big. Honestly, I think anything bigger than 27 inches is too much, because if you're sitting a foot away from your monitor, it's hard to see everything because you're that close. So if something's going on, if someone's shooting you in an FPS in the bottom left hand, right hand corner, if something's hitting you from up top, your peripheral's kind of in the middle of the screen, so it's hard to notice what's going on. That's why I wouldn't go bigger than 27 inches. It's more than enough. This thing's awesome. It's beautiful. It makes older games like WoW, World of Warcraft that is, on max look fantastic. I love it. Alright, so now to the build itself. Real quick, this is the Corsair Strix. This thing's awesome. Count keyboard. It is not RGB, it just comes red lighting, but it worked out because ultimately my color scheme fell together perfectly. This is the monitor itself. Once again, it's got the little red accents on it, so it all came together very nicely. I'm happy about that. This is the rig itself. I kind of got a glare going on. It sucks, but if you could bear with me, you'll see everything set up. This is the NZXT S340 case. I believe that's it. So I put this together just recently. I put some Corsair red fans in it. I left the two, if you guys could see in there. I know it's hard to see. Yeah, this glare sucks. I left the two original black fans for the water cooling. That's the Asus Strix. This thing is a beast. Half the reason why I got a new case is because this thing can't fit in a lot of cases. It's just so long, but with this case, it's perfect. I got no complaints. Like I said, the motherboard's awesome. It's not RGB, it's red only, but with my setup, it fits perfect. If you're going for a red and whatever color build, this is a perfect match. The RAM is 16 gigabytes, 3000 megahertz Ddr4. Just bear in mind, sometimes if you get a new motherboard, new RAM, it'll default downclock it, so you gotta go in BIOS, you gotta set XMP up. As you see, this one actually tells you if it's on, so this lit up right here, which is good. Yeah, other than that, you'll see all the little red accents that work together. So ultimately, with this build, I got a 750 watt power supply, figure out 80 bucks. It's the Corsair 750 CXM or something. I got the Z170X Gigabyte Gaming Ultra motherboard. I think that was around like $130. I have the Asus Strix 1070 GTX. That's an expensive component, but I got that on sale for around $410. Then I have what we can't see, the i7 buried under there, 6700K. That I got on sale. Obviously you guys could get it in a bundle. That was about 300, a little over 300. The RAM itself got on sale. Remember, most of these stores honor price matching, so you could get it for cheaper. Got the RAM for about 85 bucks. Micro Center was trying to sell it for like 105, 110, but just remember, you could price match. So about 85 for that. Fans, I don't know, 25 bucks. Water cooling, 100 bucks. Kind of bit me in the ass is I put an SSD in this. I originally had a hard drive, 7200 RPM. I couldn't switch Windows because of the new hardware, so I wound up buying a new Windows USB stick. It cost me actually like 110 bucks. So ultimately, if you're looking to play the most current titles, 1440p, 60 plus FPS, depending on how you like your settings. I play it everything maxed out, resolution scale well over 100%, and every other option cranked at least 60 FPS. If you're looking to do that, this setup's perfect. I love it. It runs cool. It's efficient. It's beautiful. That's relative though. That's how I set this up. And coupled with this monitor, it's a perfect setup. So if you're looking for something $2,000 or less, something bulletproof that'll last for the next X amount of years to come, this is a surefire way to do it. As you can see right now, I'm just idling. These are the temps. I let this log for the past hour or two. I was playing some Battlefield, some WoW. As you can see, the core package. Oh, get out of here. As you can see, the core package never broke min 40s. If I'm in Battlefield, I'm playing an extended period of time, it will go up to the 50s, but that's nothing for a CPU. It won't. My point is, you could play for hours on end, it'll never break high 50s. And I'm pretty happy with that. It's before I overclocked. I'm sure if I overclocked and set the fan curve a little higher, a little more aggressive, it would probably remain the same because the fans are working harder. So you can see the CPU downclocks itself, which is good. It's more energy efficient, so when nothing's going on, it goes down to 800 megahertz. And when you're running something more demanding, 42. Temps right now, you can see high teens. They do tend to range, but you got to bear in mind the voltage is jumping from low to high. Let's see what we got going on for the GTX. Yeah, look at this thing. This thing runs stupid cool. Right now I'm idling, no big deal, but I'm telling you, you could play a video game for like an hour and the fans won't even kick on until it hits 60 degrees Celsius. Right now it's a little downclocked because I just exited out of WoW, but you will see the core clock will go up to pretty much 2K. It'll hit like 1980 or something, 1960. So that's pretty much it for the build itself. I'm about to just take a quick video, show you guys how it actually performs. Alright, so I hope you guys would bear with me for this. It's hard to see. I'm trying to film. I can't really play. The FPS is tiny. Right now, I'm running at 1440p, full ultra. My resolution scale set at 125%. Show you right here. So as you can see, 2560 by 1440, 144 hertz. In advanced, this is what I like. These are the settings I prefer. I really don't care if my FPS has to go up to close to 144 hertz. I really don't give a shit. I like the eye candy, so this is how I rock it. DirectX 12 I leave enabled because that's an option other Windows don't have. So take advantage of that, especially if you have a multi-core processor. It will utilize the extra cores. Apparently it gives you extra performance. Resolution scale, my phone sucks, 125%. Higher this goes, the lower your FPS becomes. Originally I had it at 150, but that's kind of pushing it. 200%, it'll definitely make it more crisp, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you plan on dropping your FPS significantly. Everything else is ultra, 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 ultra. So as you can see, considering the settings, this is how this build performs. Here's the thing about Battleground FPS. You have to do this every time unless you have fraps or something. Perf overlay that draw FPS 1. Yeah, so I wish I could kinda see if I could do it like this. Obviously I'm not playing, I'm just kinda running around to show you guys. Pretty much, even in the heat of super combat, it will not dip below 50. I average about 50 to 75. And I'll take that. As long as it's green, it's good to me. It looks beautiful, and that's half the reason why I play. I love the realism of it. And it doesn't hurt my eyes. It's not like a slideshow at all. I will take this. It's over 60 FPS right now at these settings in the middle of combat. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, considering what I paid, it was a little more than typical, but if you're looking to play 1440p at max settings and to take on whatever new game comes out in the next few years, this build, the build I did, strongly worth considering. Thanks.